Okay, so in this treaty, this part towards the end here, I found it to be like eyebrow raising because I'm like, wait a minute. One, the sequencing in which they list this, the debt to be paid, and then two, how to retrieve your property for these specific people coming after that. I thought it was interesting. So I'll listen to this and I'm gonna give my opinion on what I think is being said, but always feel free to comment and tell me what you see and what you hear. Because this one right here, I think we hit something.
Article 4. It is agreed that creditors on either side shall meet with no lawful impediment to the recovery of the full value in sterling money of all bona fide debts heretofore contracted. Article 5. Congress to recommend to the states restitution of confiscated estates. It is agreed that the Congress shall earnestly recommend it to the legislatures of the respective states to provide for the restitution of all estates, rights and properties, which have been confiscated, belonging to real British subjects, and also of the estates, rights and properties of persons resident in districts in the possession of His Majesty's arms, and who have not borne arms against the said United States. And that persons of any other description shall have free liberty to go to any part or parts of any of the 13 United States, and therein to remain 12 months, unmolested in their endeavors to obtain the restitution of such of their estates, rights and properties, as may have been confiscated, and that Congress shall also earnestly recommend to the several states a reconsideration and revision of all acts or laws regarding the premises, so as to render the said laws or acts perfectly
Okay, so first off, this treaty, which is the treaty with Great Britain, deferential treaties with Great Britain, 1783, I'm sorry. And remember, above your local codes, above your federal codes, above the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Civil Rights, treaties are the laws of the land. Now, with that out the way, we look at this and see that you were supposed to be given the opportunity to collect any debt without being molested, held up, without someone trying to stop you in this act, right? And I always think about all the paperwork they throw at you, and then trying to get you to use up any kind of funds that you have in court before getting this stuff. And as you know, the higher you go into court, the more things cost with the higher courts. But the higher courts seem to be where you have to get this action taken care of a lot of the times. I mean, like in your local counties, it seems to be that if you want the real actions, you got to take it to your Supreme Court. Now, it is agreed that Congress, right, is supposed to meet with its legislators of the several states to provide for restitution of estates, rights, and properties which have been confiscated belonging to the real British subjects. Now, that's what stopped me the first time. I'm like, wait a minute. The real British subjects. Never heard that term before. Got an idea of who the real British are, but I've never heard that term before. So I was like, that's interesting. So someone that just says, oh, I'm British, but doesn't have the genealogy to back it, can't make this claim, right? who had their properties here in the 13, what did they call it? They called it, and that person, let's see. It's the United States. Oh, there it is. Let's see. A person shall have the free liberty to go at any part or parts of any of the 13 United States. So, if you are the descendant of the real British, you have 12, you can go at any time, you can go for 12 months, right? A year, to any of the 13 colonies, where I'm assuming this is saying, and I hate to use the word assume, but this is where, you gotta help me out here, that is saying that if you had the property in this area, right, in any of the 13 United States, the 13 colonies, you now have the right to go to these places and reclaim this, or to seek sterling money for the property. I know that was the sterling part was in the debt collection, right? Because I wonder how now this would apply to somebody that lives in Florida that was held by Spain until the United States took it over. See, that's where the stretch is. Because you think about the people they claim went down there and did this. And as I'm now learning, a lot of these people that we keep thinking were white, were melanated. Did the leaders, such as Andrew Jackson, take this back? Does it apply to them? Were British people living there? Yes. Were they the real British? I don't know. Can they go to any of the 13 colonies and claim, give me back my estate that's in Florida? Give me back my property that was in Florida. See, that's what I'm trying to get to. But I find it a stretch because we know Florida was not a part of the original 13. So, but I'm just saying, as someone in my position who's, and I know you guys, you don't have to tell me this, I already know, so you don't have to put this in the comments. I already know that these DNA tests are for entertainment purposes, okay? And that they're not liable in court, okay? But when you look at that and they're saying, oh, you have this percent of British genetics, and my sister and I are doing this, and we're finding out, it seems, from what we understand, that it was our ancestor that came from Jamaica. We left England, went to Jamaica. From Jamaica, came to South Carolina, right? With his property and his children and stuff like that. He had slaves, and that. Him going to South Carolina, what was the purpose of that? Was this the purpose? Was this the protection? Because he could have went to, I don't know, he could have went to Louisiana. He could have went to Texas. But it was odd that he picked the Carolina from what we were looking at. We don't know why, because he's not alive to tell us. And that side of the family is bourgeois, So, I just thought that was interesting and telling, that it doesn't say when this even expires, because how contracts expire. You have to have the bloodlines of both sides sitting down to draw up an agreement for it to expire, right? Of the original signees, their bloodlines to sit down to be able to do that, right? So just thought this was interesting. Like the whole part about the real British subjects, obviously, these 13 United States, and the collection, because I see a point in time where, on the surface, they're gonna, Constitution's done, whether it be through a war with another country, they already told us years ago they were planning to turn the United States into a third world country, and they're successfully doing that. But on top of that, you understand that with them trying to reach this goal of a one world everything, they have their treaty in place, they have their own new constitution in place, meaning the UN. And still, even with all that, treaties are still the law of the land. Just saying.